In his era, Roberto Clemente was one of the greatest players. He was unique. Clemente played in a way that none of those other great players of that era, Mays, Aaron, or Mantle, did.
Baseball legend Roberto Clemente paved the way for Latinos in the major leagues.
Clemente is best known as that rare ball player who actually grew as a human being as his talents were diminishing. And he became a great humanitarian whose motto was, if you have a chance to help others and fail to do so, you're wasting your time on this earth.
Roberto Clemente was born August 18, 1934, in Carolina, Puerto Rico. In his late teens, his ability caught the eye of Major League scouts.
Clemente signed with the Dodgers in 1954. They'd scouted him and thought he had enormous talent. But because of that potential, the Dodgers actually tried to hide him up in Montreal, and they would not play him.
In 1955, Roberto Clemente was signed by the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he made his big league debut and where he spent the rest of his career.
None of the sports writers in Pittsburgh knew any Spanish. They would quote Clemente in broken English, pidgin English. If he said, "I got a hit," they'd say, "I got heat," H-E-E-T. That's how they'd spell it in the newspaper. He was an incredibly proud man, and it infuriated him when they did that.
Roberto Clemente comes to bat.
Over the next 18 years, Roberto Clemente quietly became one of the top players in baseball, winning 12 Gold Glove awards, 4 batting titles, and leading the Pirates to 2 World Series championships.
Roberto Clemente had a gun for a right arm. This guy played right field, and if you even thought about taking an extra base on a hit out to right field, you better think again, because he could gun you down at second base, third base, or at home.
Clemente was the National League MVP in 1966 and played in 15 All-Star games.
To end the game and the series with victory for the Pirates.
In his last regular season game of 1972, Roberto Clemente became the 11th player of all time and the first Latino in history to reach 3,000 hits.
For Roberto Clemente, reaching 3,000 hits allowed him to reach a milestone that Babe Ruth hadn't reached, that Lou Gehrig hadn't reached, that Mickey Mantle hadn't reached. It showed that this was an all-time great player.
On December 31st, 1972, a plane carrying Roberto Clemente crashed off the coast of Puerto Rico. He was on his way to Nicaragua to deliver emergency relief supplies to victims of a devastating earthquake.
When Roberto was killed, it was just stunning. I remember my heart sinking that New Year's Eve. When such a great athlete is killed in his prime, I remember being crushed. I wasn't a Pittsburgh fan, I was just a sports fan, and I think it was devastating.
Clemente, by the time he died, was the patron saint of Latin American baseball. When word of his death arose, hundreds and hundreds of people drove to Pinones Beach near San Juan, Puerto Rico, where the plane went down, thinking that Clemente might walk out of the water.
Only 3 months after his death, Roberto Clemente became the first Latino ever to be inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame.
It's hard to say that anyone was the equivalent of Jackie Robinson, but Clemente is the closest thing. He was not the first Latino ball player in the major leagues, but he was the first great one. And because of the way he played and the way he lived, he set in motion a huge migration of Latino ball players into the major leagues.
Roberto Clemente was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2002.
Roberto Clemente's legacy is not only being one of the all-time great players, but being one of the all-time great heroes. It's a wonderful legacy. I think he's one of those people that when you say Roberto Clemente, you smile. He was great in so many ways on and off the field.